get started in just a moment. So this is a chair and standing yoga practice in collaboration with Corktown Health, and we'll get started with the class in just a moment. Okay. So I'm going to write just a couple of terms in the comments that I'm going to be talking about today. So that way, if it's easier to see them written, you'll have that. Alright, so let's get started. So, like many of you, this last week especially, and the last few months have been very overwhelming, and especially in the last week, seeing all of the injustices that have been taking place in our country has moved many people to action, has been overwhelming for many people, has been both. And so thinking about how yoga can work with that. What is yoga's role? And to me, and I'm just speaking from my own experience, yoga is very much about action. So there is part of what we're doing on our mats or on our chairs, but then there's also taking our yoga off of our mat or off of our chairs and taking these attitudes and these actions out into the world to fight or to help bring action for justice and against injustice. So I like to think about some of the things that can happen on our yoga mats as thinking about the importance of self-care for then going out and doing the work that we need to do in community and with others. And that phrase that some of you may have heard of we can't pour from an empty cup, or we can't draw from an empty well. So we have to fill our own well, and then only from that overflow of the well can then we give to others and help others. So hopefully some of the yoga practice that's happening here on the chair, on the mat, can then help build that well so that you can go out and do the important work in your communities, how you're drawn to. And I also think of these two terms that I posted in the chat of abhyasa and vairagya. I think they're really important terms in philosophy for thinking about how we then go out into the world doing the work that we do. And abhyasa is effort, action. So speaking up for injustices, perhaps if going to protests, or perhaps donating money, or speaking up in different communities and groups you're a part of. That's the abhyasa. And then the vairagya is the surrender, the letting go. And that could be maybe doing the self-care on your mat, or taking a step back and listening when you need to listen, right? I know for me, as a white person with white privilege, that's something I need to do is my own self-reflection and step back and listen. So that's part of the vairagya. So I'm going to be talking about these terms today in some of the different movements and poses that we're going to be doing. And knowing that there might be a lot of anxiety that people are feeling, so I'll really focus on calming and kind of releasing some of that anxiety. So enough talking, and let's get started with some movement. And let's just start with something very simple but can be very powerful by inhaling our shoulders up towards our ears through our nose, inhaling. Exhale through the mouth with a big ha noise, and let your shoulders drop. A couple more if that feels okay. And then let the shoulders fall. And just notice how you feel after doing that. Is there a more tingling or awake sensation in your shoulders, your neck, your face, maybe your hands? And that action of inhaling and that sniff in and bringing the shoulders up is really the abhyasa, like the effort, the action, and then the letting it go. With the sigh, letting the shoulders just drop and fall, that's the vairagya. So just an illustration of those terms in a movement. So thinking about that as we continue to move through this class, and then as you go out into the rest of your day and into the world. So now let's take a moment to sit comfortably, sit tall, perhaps closing your eyes. And if you want, you can take a mudra, which is a position with the hands. And I'm going to move back a little bit. And one mudra that I might suggest today, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious, is called Adi Mudra. Type that in the chat too. It's spelled A-D-I. And it's bringing your thumbs in and your fingers over them to make little fists. And then bringing your hands so the knuckles are down, palms facing down on your legs. And thinking about sitting up nice and tall, relaxing the shoulders, and hands in Adi Mudra. Again, this is a very grounding, calming mudra. It can be. If this doesn't seem to be calming for you, then perhaps finding another position with the hands that might be. It could just be palms down. Again, anything where palms are down tends to be more grounding. If you feel like you need more energy right now, if you're feeling very depleted and drained, maybe palms up. So just taking a couple moments here. You could close your eyes if you want. You don't have to. You could always just have your gaze softly down rather than looking at the screen for a few moments. Just check into how your body is feeling, your mind, your emotions. Knowing that all of your experiences, even conflicting feelings or emotions, are valid right now. It's all valid, it's all part of your experience in this moment. See what comes up for you. Is there a part of your body that is feeling particularly tight, maybe where you're holding your stress? jaw, clenching your jaw is a common one, or shoulders up. That's where again we did that shoulders down. But also paying attention to areas that feel soft or relaxed, or feel neutral. There could be areas that are like our earlobes where we might not feel a lot of sensation. Just noticing those as well. Notice your breath, just your natural breath. Follow it in and out. Observe where you might notice it. Maybe at the nostrils, the belly, the chest, the sides of the body. And it might also be hard to notice, and that's, again, a valid experience too. Now I invite you, if you still have a mudra, to release it and bring one hand on top of your heart and then the other. And just take a moment here to tune into what your heart is telling you. What works for you in terms of taking action, in terms of living your intention, living your truth, thinking about cultivating how you might take action against a lot of the injustices that are happening in the world right now. Police brutality against Black people. How might that show up for you in your life, in your work? And knowing to balance the action with time for reflection, time for self-care. Again, you can't fill from we can't give from an empty cup. We have to fill our own well, and with that overflow of our own well, then help others. So taking a moment to set an intention, one that resonates and sits with you. One that helps call you to the action that you need to take for you. And it might just be being here in this yoga practice. And then when you're ready, to release our hands, slowly open the eyes if they're closed. And we'll do a few more rounds of inhaling shoulders up, exhale them down through the mouth. Inhale up, the effort, and exhale, the release, the letting go, the balance between the two. If you want, you might make fists when you inhale up, kind of tensing, and then exhale, just soften, release everything with the fingers open. One more. And then from here, again to lengthen and deepen your breath. Bring your hands just to rest again on your legs. If you can, lengthen and deepen your breath. If it's too intense to do that right now, just work with wherever your breath is. We do some movements to link our breath and to move with our breath. So let's inhale our arms up. Reach up. Maybe you can gaze up. And then with your exhale, bring your hands down to your knees. With your next inhale, bring your chest forward and lift your gaze. Open your throat. Try to keep your shoulders down. With your next exhale, round. Draw your chin to your chest and tilt your pelvis back. Draw your navel in. Inhale, come back to sitting tall and lift the arms once again. So we're finding a little sequence here. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, chest forward, tilting the pelvis forward, gazing up, opening the throat. Exhale, draw the navel in, round. a big beach ball in front of you. Inhale, sit tall, lift the arms again. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed. So the arms can always come out wider or more forward if that's better for your shoulders. Exhale, come down. Inhale, chest forward, lifting the gaze. Try to keep the back of your neck long here. Exhale, round. Inhale, come up. Do one more on your own. I'm just going to turn to the side to show you. So you're thinking about as you're coming forward, you're coming into a cow-like position if you know cat and cow. Exhale, round, get back to cat. And after you get to cat here, just come to sit tall again. Take a couple of deep breaths here. I'm going to move a little closer, and I'm going to demonstrate a breathing technique that I think can really help us find balance when we're feeling very upset and overwhelmed. So this is called alternate nostril breathing, and it involves blocking one nostril, breathing in, breathing out through the other. So trying your best. If you find that the pattern is too complicated, or if one nostril is really clogged and you can't breathe through it, you can take a break, you can just observe this, you can watch, you can try it again later, right? There's no one right way. So it involves placing your thumb over your right nostril, and then your first finger, your pointer finger, and your middle finger come into the palm of your hand, of your right hand. And then your ring finger and pinky finger come out. This is another mudra called Vishnu mudra. If this hurts your knuckles on your fingers or hurts your fingers, you can do it with these two fingers on your forehead. The point is we're not using the first finger or the middle finger. We're using the last two fingers and the thumb. So we block the right nostril with the thumb, and we inhale just through our left nostril. Then we block our left nostril with our last two fingers, and exhale through the right. Then we inhale just through the right, block with our thumb, open up the left, and exhale through the left. And we inhale through the left, block with our last two fingers, exhale right. So take a break for a moment if you were doing that. Wiggle your fingers if they feel stiff. And again, you could do that with your first and middle finger on your forehead and just using these last two fingers and the thumb to block and open the nostrils. If you also want to blow your nose right now, if that would help, you can do that. But if you're feeling really congested and it's really hard to breathe through one side, don't force it. Just observe right now and maybe trying again another time. So we're going to do this again. And this can have a few different effects. One, it can be really good preventatively for like allergy season before you're congested to help keep the air flowing evenly through both the nostrils. Also in yoga philosophy, the left side of the body is the predominant energy of the moon and calming, cooling energy. The right side is the predominant energy of the sun and is energizing and heating and uplifting. So we want to balance both of these, and that's what this breath does. Because if we have too much right side energy, we might feel very anxious, agitated, angry even. If we have too much left side energy, we might feel really lethargic, tired, down, depressed. So we want to keep those in balance. And there's also other breathing techniques where you can do just one or the other if you really want to increase the other side. So if you're feeling really down, you could do right side breathing to increase your right side energy. If you're feeling really anxious or agitated, you could do left nostril breathing to increase more calm. So at the end, I'll give you an option. I'll show you both of those. So now we're learning actually the harder one, which is balancing both. So let's try it again. And again, being patient with yourself, having fun with this. We're going to block our right nostril with our thumb, and we're going to inhale through our left. Then block the left nostril, exhale right. Inhale right. Block with your thumb, exhale left. Inhale left. Block, exhale right. Inhale right. Block, exhale left. Inhale left. Block, exhale right. Inhale right. Block, exhale left. Inhale left. Block, exhale right. Inhale right. And then we're ending with an exhale through the left nostril. And then release your hands, shake up the fingers. So I'll put a comment that this is called alternate nostril breathing, also called Nadi Shodhana in Sanskrit. So it can also really be helpful, I think, for anxiety because it is complicated. It requires this focus. So it gets you out of your head if you're kind of stuck in ruminating thoughts. I think it's also nice for focus and concentration if you're nervous before a presentation or a test to help kind of clear your mind, be centered, and be balanced. So again, that was alternate nostril breathing. So just check in for a moment, seeing how your body is feeling, your energy. You could close your eyes if you want, you could keep them open. Notice how sensation might feel around the nasal passageways, your face, your temples, your jaw. And we'll do a couple more things seated, and then we'll come to standing. So specifically focusing a little bit more on the face, as this is a place we can commonly hold tension and stress. Let's bring our first two fingers that we weren't using before, so now we're going to use them, to the middle of our forehead, and just do some gentle circles, applying as much pressure as you want. Switch the direction of the circle. And then bring the right hand to the right temple, the left hand, the first two fingers to the left temple, and do some gentle circles here. As much pressure as you want. And then move down, do circles in both directions first, sorry. And then move down to your jaw. And just do some gentle circles here, in the other direction. And then release. Just noticing your face, noticing the temples, the middle of the forehead, the jaw. And then we're going to do the same thing again, but now using our thumbs. So bringing the thumbs to in between the eyebrows, gentle pressure here. Thumb tips pointing down, hands up. And then gently pull your thumbs up to your hairline and spread your thumbs across, down to your temples, and using the pads of your thumbs rather than the tips, but the pads, doing some gentle circles here. And just noticing the difference between the first two fingers and the thumbs. There's not one that's better or right, but if you liked one better than the other, you can choose to just do that. And switch the direction. And then go down to your jaw, do your circles again with the pads of your thumbs. And then the other direction. And when you feel ready, release. Just pause, relax your arms down. See if you can soften your face a little more. You might hear some noise in the background. Being at home and being anywhere, there could be noise. There's construction noise in the background here, and landscaping and lawn care noise. So that's part of our practice too, right? It's how we continue to work and do our practice and take action, right? Persevere the effort, even in despite of some of these hurdles, whether they're distracting noises or injustices that we're facing out in the world. So let's come to standing now. So I'm going to back up. idea of what we did before with the shoulders, the inhale and the exhale out through the mouth. We're going to do that now, but add some more movement to the body. We're going to, I'll just demonstrate it and show you first. Inhale the arms up overhead. If you want, they can touch or be wide. And exhale, sigh it out, let the arms kind of just fall and swing down. If you're taking care of your shoulders and bringing them up overhead doesn't work, you could bring them forward or just lift them halfway up. Whatever feels right for your body, right? We're always checking in with our body and not putting in too much abhyasa. We don't want too much effort where we're going to the point of injury or pain. We just want to balance that effort with the vairagya, the letting go, the surrendering. So take a breath in and out to prepare. Stand comfortably, feet about hip distance apart. And then inhale up. And exhale. Just do it a couple more times. And one more time. Just let your arms rest down. Check in with how you're feeling. Eyes could be soft, eyes could be closed. Notice sensation in your fingertips, the palms of your hands, your shoulders, your arms. And I invite you again for just a moment to bring both hands over the heart. And if you're just joining, you could do this now of checking in with your intention. What is your heart telling you? What does your heart need? So thinking again about action, effort, abhyasa, balanced with vairagya, letting go. Where is it that you can take action in your life and in your community? And then where can you balance that with rest, with self-care? When you're ready, releasing your hands down. So now I'm going to invite you to bring your chair in front of you. So I'm going to turn to the side. And we're going to do an option in a moment where we can fold forward. And so if it's comfortable for you, you could rest your hands and just watch me first on the chair for support as you fold. You could also use a yoga block, a low table, something else to rest your hands on. Or you could rest your hands on your legs or your feet, but know that you don't have to reach the ground. If you're taking care of your back, if you have high blood pressure that's unmedicated, think about keeping your head higher than your heart and maybe just folding like this or about halfway down. And my hands are above my knees here on my thighs, so we don't want to press directly on our kneecaps. We don't want to lock them or press them back. You can keep your hands higher or lower than your knees, or again, use your chair seat. You can also skip the forward fold that we're going to do in a moment if that doesn't work for you. We're going to do a side stretch, and then with our exhale, we'll be arms up overhead. I'll just talk you through this. We'll fold forward with that sigh out again, but we did the but we'll do that with the forward fold. So find a comfortable stance where your feet are about hip distance apart. I'll just turn to face you so you can see me. If you feel more comfortable a little wider, if you feel stronger and more stable, do that. If you feel more comfortable with feet together, do that. This is our mountain pose. We want to feel strong, stable, and grounded here. Feel your feet rooting down into the floor, into the earth. My palms are gently turning forward, thinking about bringing my shoulders together on my back. My neck is long. My gaze, my drishti, is forward. Strong and steady. Top of my head reaching up. Follow your breath in and out here, deep and even. When you feel ready, inhale your arms up overhead. With your exhale, bring your right arm down and reach over with your left. Your gaze could be down, it could be up, or straight ahead. Take one more breath here. And then inhale, bring both arms up. You might gaze up here and do a slight back bend. That feels okay. Exhale over to the other side. So feeling this awakening and opening in your side body. See what feels best for your neck in terms of where to bring your gaze. And then from here, lift both arms up with an inhale. And exhale, side out as you fold. Thinking about releasing stress and tension. So again, you could fold deeper or you could stay with hands on a chair, wherever feels right for your body. Take a couple of breaths here. Thinking of lengthening the spine, waking up the backs of the legs, and keeping the knees soft. So even if you can fold comfortably to the ground, try not to lock your knees back, keeping a little bit of a micro bend in your knees. So from here, we're all going to come to a halfway lift. So that could be if your hands are lower, bringing them to the chair seat now or to your thighs. And thinking about bringing your torso and your back parallel to the ground. And then maybe lifting your gaze slightly out at the horizon. And then with your exhale, fold back into your forward fold. And again, this might just be staying more at the half lift. And that's what I'm going to demonstrate because I do have something going on with my right lower back. Then from here, rooting down through the feet, and I'll show a couple of different ways of coming up. One is you could roll up and round the spine, like this, or you could bring your hands to your hips and come up with a nice and long, straight spine. Up to you. And when you come to standing, just shake out the legs a little bit. And we're going to do that sequence again a little faster this time. One movement, one breath. And try your best. If it's too fast, go slower. Do it however feels best for you. And back to your mountain pose. Strong and steady. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, side stretch to your right. Inhale, come back up through center. Exhale, side stretch to your left. Inhale, up through center. Exhale, side and fold. Soft knees as you fold, hinging from your hips. Inhale, come up halfway, long side. Exhale, fold back in. Inhale, arms reach out and up, long spine this time, coming all the way up, arms overhead. Exhale, hands come together and down through heart center. Feeling in this practice with love, with your intention. Taking a moment to repeat your intention to yourself now. And then releasing your hands down. So in that sequence and then through all of our moves, we're balancing the action, like how deep we want to fold, how much we want to feel the stretch, the effort, the abhyasa, with the vairagya, knowing when we need to back off a little bit, do something different, come out of a pose, or maybe just soften into a pose. That's the vairagya, the letting go. So we just did some forward folds. Let's do a little bit of back bending. So come so that your chair is facing away from you, and you're going to come behind it. And you're going to hold on to the back of the chair or a little lower, depending on how high it is. Begin to walk away a little bit. Toes are pointing forward. And then feeling strong and steady with the legs. Thinking about drawing your navel in, your hips slightly in, slight engagement in the glutes. Because we're going to begin to lift our chest, coming into a gentle standing back bend here. And maybe lift our throat, lift our gaze. Try to keep your shoulders relaxed as much as is comfortable. Take a couple of breaths here. If you can't maintain a deep breath, that's a sign to maybe change what you're doing in your body. Maybe your gaze comes more forward so you can get that deep breath. One more breath here if you feel comfortable. And then slowly bringing your gaze forward, your chest forward, releasing your arms, taking it out. So now I'm going to show you something else that we can do that is a little more abhyasa, a little more effort. But you want to make sure that your chair that you're using doesn't have wheels. So if you're using an office chair, or your chair feels like it's really sliding on your floor, I will show you something, how you can do it on the wall in just a moment. So what I'm going to invite you to do is a plank variation. So you can see I'm moving my back of my chair against the shelf so it won't move or slide. And then I'm going to hold my chair seat and walk my feet away. I'm just on my toes. My heels are lifted and I'm like a plank of wood. I'm really engaging my core here. So if that doesn't work for your chair, or if that just feels too intense for you, maybe on your shoulders or your wrists, because there's weight going down because of gravity, you can do it on a wall. So you would bring your hands about shoulder height, walk a little bit away, and you're thinking about drawing the navel in, engaging the core, engaging the glutes a little bit here. Neck is nice and long, pressing against the wall, fingers spread wide. Okay? And you want to make sure whether you're at the wall or using the chair that this isn't happening or this, right? It's a little bit different. A body you think about is like a plank of wood rather than bowing in or out. Then from either one, so if you want, you can come into this now. Up to you how long you hold. So if you're doing it on the chair seat, this is where I'm like, don't let your hips sag forward or stick your booty out. You're kind of thinking about everything is in line here. So whether you're at the wall or on the chair, if you want, another option you could add in is inhale here, with your exhale, draw your right knee in and up. Exhale, and then inhale, lengthen it out again. Exhale, bring your left knee in and up, lengthen it out. You can keep going with your breath a couple more times. I'll show it on the wall too. Exhale, lift it up, inhale down. You can always skip this. If you need a little less pressure on your wrists or your shoulders, this is just trying it at the wall versus on the chair seat. And you can always just do this without the movement, just holding. Take a couple more breaths wherever you are, whatever variation that you're doing. And then when you feel ready, we're going to slowly make our way back to standing. Let's do some circles with our wrists, going in both directions. So even though we're doing chair yoga and doing some just standing and seated stuff without a mat, we can still build some heat, work the core here. So that was plank pose, we just did with the chair or with the wall. We'll do a few more things standing and then we'll come back to seated. But I know some of us might be sitting a lot more if we're at, now that we've been at home more, we could be working from home, we could be taking care of others at home, and we might just feel like we need to open up our body a little more. So I'm going to show a couple more poses that help us open up the front of the body. So that standing back bend we did a moment ago is really good for that. And this next one you can do either with your chair, if it has no arms, or standing. So if your chair has arms, this won't work, but I'll show you how to do it standing. So I'll show it first with the chair and then standing. So what we're going to do is like a lunge, but with the chair. So if the chair version is nice, if you feel kind of wobbly, or if you need to put a little less pressure on the legs, like on the front knee that's back. So I'm scooting over towards the right side of my chair, so my right butt cheek, my right glute is off of the chair. My left knee is back, my left foot is pointing forward. I'm going to begin to walk, scoot back a little bit, my right leg back. And I'm really feeling a stretch in my right quad and hip flexor here, my psoas. It's really deep in the body, gets really tight from sitting a lot. So the chair is supporting me. There's not a lot of weight in my front knee, and I have the chair to help me balance but I can also really feel this stretch in my right leg. I could stay here, or I could lift my arms up. Now, if that feels too wobbly, keep them holding onto the chair and your leg for support. So to do it without the chair would be like this. So my hips are squaring forward. I'm bending into the left knee. My left knee is lined up with my left ankle. I'm on my right toes, and my heel is lifted. So this is where there's an element of balance. So you could stay with the hands on the hips. You could hold onto your chair for balance. You could also explore and have fun with it, lifting your arms. So just seeing how this feels with your body. Keep going for another breath or two if you want. For my body, because of the back issue I mentioned previously, the chair version is better. So just listening to your body and what it needs. Working on straightening your back leg, but if it's a little bent in the back knee, that's okay. Don't force it straight. If it's tight, if your leg is tight, it might be harder to straighten the leg. So come out of it, whether you're standing or seated. If you're seated, you might just come forward, shake the legs out. If you're standing, shaking the whole body out. And then we'll move to the other side. So now the right leg is going to be forward, and the left leg is going to come back. So if you're sitting on the chair, you're scooting way over to the side, so the right glute is on the chair, but your left leg is moving back. And again, you need to do this with a chair with no arms. So you can also do it standing if you do have a chair with arms. Another version, and just continue to take a couple breaths here, is if the standing version is too intense for you and you don't have a chair without arms, is you could bring your back knee down to the ground, but you would want to do that in some kind of support, not just on the wood floor. So here I am where my left knee is down on a blanket, and the arms as an option can be up. You can always have them on your front thigh and your hips holding onto your chair. Take a couple more breaths here. And then slowly release, coming out of it, coming back up to standing for a moment. Just shaking it out. Your sides might feel good. So sometimes just a moment of like shaking the body and sighing it out can be helpful for discharging anxiety and stress from the body. And just, you can be silly and have fun with it. Shake out a specific part of the body if it needs it. And when you're ready, let's come back down to seated. So taking a moment to sit nice and tall. Check in with your energy, your body, your mind. Take a moment just to work with the neck a little bit here. Inhale at center. Exhale, gaze over one shoulder. Bring your head just as much as comfortable. Inhale back to center. Exhale, gaze over your other shoulder. Trying to keep your chin parallel to the ground if you can. Inhale back to center. Do this a couple more times. Linking your breath and movement. So try not to let the chin fall down or jut up, but it's just stay nice and even. One more on each side. now dropping your right ear down towards your right shoulder. Trying to still sit up nice and tall. Take a couple of breaths here. If you want, an option might be to bring your right hand gently on your head and lift your left fingertips down and out. So forming an angle, line of energy from the top of your head down the left side of your face, your ear, and the left side of your neck, all the way down to your fingertips. If that's too much, do it without the arms. Then slowly, with your next exhale, drop your chin down to the center of your chest. Then slowly bring your left ear down towards your left shoulder. So your right ear is pointing up towards the ceiling. And every other part of your spine is reaching tall except your neck. Take a couple of breaths here, just settling in and seeing what you might need on this side. It could be very different, right? We often might hold tension on one side of the body. It could be depending on like what movements we're doing in our day, what hand we right with is dominant. So you might bring your left hand gently to your head, reach your left fingertips down and out. Breathing here, in and out. And then slowly releasing your hands if you're using them, bringing your chin to the center of the chest. Very gently and slowly lifting the gaze up. Might feel good to take a few shoulder rolls here. You can inhale up, exhale back. You could go in both directions if you want. For me, I'm just going to go back because I know that I tend to round forward a lot over my computer, my bike, my phone. So I'm balancing that rounding with bringing my shoulders back. And then release when you feel ready. Sitting tall. I'm going to invite us into another movement sequence that I think really embodies those concepts of abhyasa and vairagya. Again, the abhyasa is the effort, the persevering practice, and the vairagya is the letting go, the surrender. So I'm going to invite us to inhale our arms up, palms forward. Exhale, come into cactus arms. Inhale here. And exhale, cross your arms over one another and give yourself a hug. Then inhale, release and lift the arms up. Exhale to cactus. Inhale here. Exhale, cross the arms, give yourself up. Do that one more time. Release, inhale up. Gaze up, exhale, bend the elbows, so strong and stable here. Inhale here, exhale, cross the arms, give yourself a hug. Maybe you drop your chin a little towards your chest, maybe you keep it lifted, up to you, just pause, giving yourself a hug, giving yourself the compassion that you need. Ready, releasing your hands down. Taking a few moments here. So now I'm going to come back to the breath work that we did earlier, and if you missed it, we did Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. So I'm recording this video so you guys can go back onto my page, onto the videos tab, and watch it if you missed it. And now we're just going to do, I'll show you right nostril breathing and then left nostril breathing, and then give you a few moments, we'll do them together, to then pick one that you want to do for a few moments on your own, what you need in this moment. So the alternate nostril breathing, we're switching back and forth, breathing through different nostrils. This one is simpler for both. It's the same mudra, so Vishnu mudra, thumb out, last two fingers out, first finger and middle finger in towards the palm or up on the forehead because we're not using that. We'll start with right nostril breathing. So we're going to block our left nostril with our pinky and ring finger. We're going to inhale through the right. Then block the right with the thumb, exhale through the left. Then block the left with the last two fingers, inhale through the right, exhale through just your left. Block the left, open the right, inhale right. Then block, exhale left. So you're always inhaling through the right and exhaling through the left. So just take a moment, take a break, wiggle your fingers out. So with the right nostril breathing or the left nostril breathing, you're inhaling through the side that you want to activate a little more. So we were just inhaling through the right side to activate our energy. And you might take a moment to check in and see how it feels. We didn't do too many rounds. So you might notice the effect, you might not. You can just see if you can tell if one nostril feels like it's more dominant right now in terms of where your breath is coming out or going in. And that normally switches throughout our day anyways, roughly every 90 minutes. One nostril is a little more dominant. But doing these breathing techniques can purposely shift that to either balance or one nostril more dominant, depending on what we need. So like if you're laying down for bed and you notice your right nostril, you're breathing more through your right nostril, that's probably not what you want right before bed. So then you could do some left nostril breathing, which is what we're going to do now. So now we're going to bring our thumb to our right nostril. Inhale through your left. Block the left. Exhale through the right. Block the right. Inhale left. Block the left. Exhale right. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale left. Exhale. One more. Inhale left. And exhale. And then release. Take a moment, wiggle your fingers. Maybe close your eyes. Check in with how your energy feels now. You might notice a shift. You might not. That's okay. And now seeing how you're doing and what you need in this moment, taking some time to either do right nostril breathing where you're inhaling right, exhaling left, or left nostril breathing, inhale left, exhale right, or maybe you go back to the alternate nostril breathing, switching. That one's a little more complicated. I don't want to confuse people again if they're trying to do just one, so I won't explain it again. But again, you could go back to the beginning of the video and watch it later if you'd like. So just taking a couple moments to do either one or any of the three. We'll just do about 2 more rounds of whatever breath you're doing, and if you're not doing any of it, that's fine too. We'll just always be doing a deep, even breathing. And let's all come back now. A deep, even breath. If you want, you could come back to Adi Mudra, ADI, which is thumbs in with fingers gently over. So we're not gripping really tight with fists, just kind of loose fists. And then knuckles down on the thighs, shoulders relaxed to help ground us. Eyes could close or be soft, gazing downward here. Coming back to your intention that you set, thinking about what is your heart's desire, what does your heart need? How can you tune into your heart to then go out into the world and take action? So yoga practice, as I said at the beginning, is much more than what we're just doing here on our mats or our chairs. It's about how we live our life out in the world. So another part of yoga philosophy that I think could be helpful as a guide that I didn't talk about today, but perhaps in future classes I will, are the yamas and niyamas, which are from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and are the first two limbs of the eight-limb path. So the asana, the physical part, is just one of the limbs. The breathing practices are just one of the limbs. There's 8 of them. And the first two, the yamas and the niyamas, talk about how we live our life, how we interact with others. So I think those can be great reference points and great things if you're interested in yoga philosophy, if you're looking into about how do you then take what you're cultivating here on your cushion, on your mat, on your chair, and use that for good out in the world. Use that to take action. So just taking a few more moments, wherever you are. Your eyes are closed. You might slowly blink them open. Release the mudra if you're still using it. And I invite you to take one last mudra, which is hands at heart center, thumbs are at the breastbone. This is called the Anjali Mudra. A mudra of humility, compassion. You could also think about how we might embody that going out into the world when we need to be compassionate for others, when we also need to be humble and know what we might still need to learn or reflect upon within ourselves. Repeat your intention one more time. Think about releasing it out into your day ahead. Thank you all for sharing your practice with me. The light within me bows to an honors, that same light within each of you. Namaste. Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you for Corktown Health Center for sponsoring this class. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And feel free to message me if you have any questions or comments or requests for next week. We'll be doing this again on Facebook Live next Thursday at